The video that you're about to watch is an excerpt from a live webinar. If you enjoy the contents of this video, please like and subscribe. I'd love to hear your comments. Thanks for watching. Let's go ahead and do the exercise. So I'm asking you to take a moment. Everybody has a desire. You have a heart's desire that you would like to have fulfilled in this year or in the years and months and weeks ahead. I am stationing myself in the gap between the absolute and the relative, anchored deeply to the eternal silence and boundless resources of divine being, absolute truth, the source of creation. Boundless compassion, like such compassion, to stabilize your own sense of self in a place where you recognize your absolute deservability for your desire, your absolute right to have exalted desires, good desires, aligned with natural law desires, aligned with universal intention desires, and have them fulfilled. It's incredible. Even the most improbable intentions, when they gain that level of universal support, the universe just wiggles around in order to shift the surrounding circumstances, the context, so that the desire can come forth. One of the things I'm seeing is I'm seeing everybody's desire becoming more delicate and more abstract as we move into this phase for the manifestation. And again, every time the intention becomes a little more abstract, just tidal waves of compassion start flowing through. The compassion can become so great that it would overwhelm the system. And so the ideal response is to just allow the compassion to move through you and return to the ocean of pure compassion, to the ocean of bliss, to the home of compassion, to the source of creation. Then you become, your body and your being, your consciousness becomes a conduit or a vehicle for the compassion to flow. It helps to heal the heart, the compassion. It helps heal the heart, but not just your heart. It also helps to heal the hearts of your ancestors. There's so much in the ancestry of seeing oneself and one's family and then seeing other. There's like an element in the ancestry of seeing others as so different or so separate that the sense of the humanity of others is lost. And so this is healing. This is one of the things that's healing as part of the, we start to fulfill one desire, and what it does is it clicks into, or it laces up with cosmic desire, with universal desire. You receive the gift of unification along with the manifestation of your desire. Because ultimately what's happening is that seed of desire is being unified or combined with the source of creation, which is where all the resources required to manifest that desire come. So there's the lively impulse of creative intelligence in the gap is one of unification. It's like binding or connecting your desire in its seed form to the source of creation that is the source of all nourishment, that feeds it, that supports it. And it's as if the field of the manifest creation is oscillating in a very fine way, like so fine, so fine, so fine. You hardly would know it unless you knew it, something like that. There's a fineness, but it's not just down here at the finest abstract, but that oscillation, it's up in this area too. And it's so fine. It's so fine. It's like a very, 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 very fine oscillation of consciousness that supports kind of like a settling of the manifest forms of creation. It allows the field of the manifest to kind of settle and reset itself in first, like imagine you have a container full of, like I had just poured, my son has this protein powder and I poured the protein powder into the container, but the protein powder was like really, really fluffy, right? And there was still like a little bit in the bag, but I couldn't get it in the container because there was too much space in the container, right? So I had to like shake the container a little bit to get all the protein powder that was in there to shake down. Then I could put in the last half a cup of protein powder into the container. So same thing. That oscillation is like this really, 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 really fine shaking, sort of, that's shaking through the manifest field of creation to allow all the bits and pieces, all the parts to settle into a more orderly structure that is then able to accommodate your desire. See how powerful it is to have desires? It's okay. It's beautiful. It's like a gift that you give to the world when you have desires, because your desire helps inform the material created world and the source of creation that's orchestrating that created world, the manifestation of that created world. It informs it of how it needs to restructure itself in order to accommodate the most efficient expression of truth, the truth of being, which is bliss. There is truth in bliss. We are the vehicles or the conduits of the source of creation, of the eternal source. And our bliss is important. Your bliss, your joy is important. And it's the aim toward that joy that fuels the desire. It sits in the middle of the heart energy center. I'm seeing so much adjustment of the energies in the body. And we touched on a little bit yesterday, also some healing for the autonomic nervous system too. Sometimes the path that brings your desire forward also sends you through experiences that are challenging. So the ability to navigate those experiences gracefully, successfully, powerfully is part of the story of bringing forth particularly the less probable desires, right? Because the universe has to change more. The less probable the desire is, the more the universe has to shift around and change in order to accommodate as well. But it's okay. The universe is infinitely flexible. I'm just watching as your individual desires stabilize in the field of consciousness, accommodating and holding space for that. That's all. And What am I doing? Illustrating a little bit through my own behavior, how to place your own awareness in the gap between the absolute and the relative so that you can always manifest desires. Some of them come up like a single wave, and some of them come up through repetition. And that's why it's important that you're receiving both the example of how to do it right now in this one webinar, but also the pattern, like from an algorithmic perspective, right? Like how to place awareness in that gap so that you go and return again, again, again. For years, I was interested in manifesting a healing space for myself, just so that I could be in that space of rejuvenation and comfort and wellness. And what happened from years of doing that was I ended up with an environment around myself that is extremely conducive to comfort. And I wasn't even expecting that as a byproduct or result. But when I think of what is that healing space, it is a place of tremendously deep comfort. And so no surprise that by returning again and again to that seed and nourishing it and nurturing it, eventually I have a place now, like my bed is so comfortable and the spot where I sit and meditate is so comfortable and my whole house is so comfortable. And I didn't even realize how uncomfortable it had been for so many decades until I got a comfortable bed and I'm like, oh my gosh, no wonder I couldn't sleep. So sometimes the desire can come to the surface in ways you were not expecting. But when the desire is grounded in your essential truth, when it's grounded in the highest intentions for yourself from both an individual and a cosmic level, then however it comes to the surface will be something beautiful for you. So may it be. May it be so. So it is. So it is.